Rene MacDonald for 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive, here live from Virginia Beach, Virginia, from the Institute for Christ Consciousness and the Copper Dragon. We have a few people in our audience tonight. We have Mark, we have Dr. Steve, we have Sophia, we have my usual accomplices, Jen and Rachel, for this evening. And we don't have any questions left over from last week. So the good news is everybody who comes will be answered right away, in the order that they come in, of course. Tonight's 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive, we're going to be answering your questions, right? Anything and everything about health, meaning somebody who crossed over. Why did your pet cross over? Why did they pass away? What happened with them? What's the main reasons? You don't feel good, your daughter doesn't feel good, or whoever's sick, or whoever's not feeling good. Any questions that you want to ask about anything, because everything truly is health, everything, okay? So tonight's show is every Friday night at 7:15 p.m. It's supposed to be about an hour, but we just go with God or universe or love, and we let God do God, right? Through us, basically, right? Higher knowing, the stars, universe, all that is love, okay? So that said, hi everybody, it's great to see you. Great to see you guys here too. Thanks for coming. Super, super grateful. And tonight we're going to also talk about emotional stuff as well, how important it is to heal our emotional stuff as we're going through these really intense water sign with Pluto, Libra, or Pluto, Venus, and what is the other one that's conjunct? Is it Mars? I think it's
Mars and Venus.
Mars and Venus, yep. Conjunct in Capricorn right now with all of this. It's really, really a lot right now. And it's about really getting down to the deepest stuff, your emotional stuff, especially with Pluto, in terms of your relationship, and Libra or Venus, your relationship with you, getting down to the bottom of the stuff that's going on that's toxic in you, your emotional stuff. Because our emotional stuff, whether we realize it, we bury it, we don't pay attention to it, we ignore it, we can't deal with that now, we'll think about that later, we'll feel later. And this happens too when we're parents or we love people and we have to be strong when there's some kind of, emergency or something crazy that we have to deal with this in this life, right? Like, to give you an example, when my daughter Sophia, and we had to go to the hospital and she had the seizures, and I could feel all this fear coming up, and I'm terrified that, she's going to die, but I'm like smashing down my emotions, right? And this is something that, all of us tend to do. And as a parent, because, in somewhere in you, it's no good if I start telling my kid my fears while she's sick and not feeling well, and we're trying to work it out with God. What's the truth about what's going on here? The God's honest truth. It's a scary place to be in, right? So we're kind of balancing earth world with our emotional space, right? Living in actual earth world as people and human beings. And at the same time, we're metaphysical beings as well. And we are multidimensional, and we're multidimensional all of the time, whether we realize it or not. And the more high-end love energy, God vibration, so to speak, that you are, right? Christ consciousness, right? And beyond, right? The more high-end you are, the more sensitive you are, right? So the more you are going to tune into these things and be more consciously aware of what's going on, and the truth of God across the board, right? That's a given for anybody, but we still are human beings, and we still live here in Earth world. So I just want to say hi, everybody on the internet. Thank you all for coming. I don't know how the picture is. I think it's past time for me to get a new phone. I feel like I'm like in this Pisces fog here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you guys see it over here? Is it clear, the images?
Mine's foggy. It's a little fog.
Yeah, because I feel like it's foggy, and I've jacked with it and turned it sideways and moved the light and shit, and I can't get it like to where it needs to be. So thanks God that everybody can see us, and that show goes great, and we have the best time from love, the God's honest truth, the best answers, everything we need from love, and the best show and the best time together, wisdom, truth, everything we need from love in the purest form in this reality, any reality, and all that is. And thank you God for that for us. So looks like I'm also going to ask God for a new phone, the best one for us, so we can keep on going. I'm thinking about doing two, one for our shows and one for all the other shit I got going on right now.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's one of the things that came in, in my spare time. because I have so much of it, right? So crazy. All of that said, we're going to talk about the emotional, because we're all going through incredible, intense emotional healing. I mean, stuff is just coming up. We are opening up into our true, authentic selves, or like kind of like shedding or releasing all the baggage, right? And Pluto gets to the bottom of this transformational pot. So you're going to get to the gods on his truth, especially if you facilitate things, or you can facilitate things a hell of a lot faster. The more you work consciously with God or love, and talk with universe all the time. You don't have to do it exactly the way you do it, or we do it, meaning exactly the way we do it. You don't. You just feel in your heart. Talk with universe, whether you meditate, whether you do this all the time. This is what I have been guided to do and teach. This is why we do this, because universe tells me this is the quickest, easiest, best way to converse or be one with God or universe all the fucking time, right? All the time, as much as possible, right? It's the number one way. It's the Christ formula, right? So that said, this is what they guide me to share with you. And it has been my experiences in my whole entire life that this is absolutely 110% truth of God. Ask and you shall receive. Work with this energy. You can do it through meditation. You can do it through thinking. You can do it. Ask and you shall receive, right? But I have a constant dialogue with God, universe, my guides, right? And all because I call it God does not mean that I don't have other guides, other wisdom, right? But they are all incorporated in that same energy that is all of God, right? People go to me, oh, well, you just call it God, or you in alignment with Christ, and then, based on the communication, especially today, we all speak so many times the same language, and we don't understand each other, and we're saying the same things, and these are some of the challenges that we're having today on different vibrations at different levels of God and love, right? So it's a very complex time, what is going on and understanding each other, right? But the bottom line is I work with God or love. I call all my energies that I work with, whether it's angels, whether it's my personal guides, animal guides that come in, whoever, whatever, that universe guides me to. And I have like 5 major guides that I work with constantly who are here. And at different times in my life, they come in and work with me at different times, at any time. And right now I'm going through like a big transformational stage of next level God, as we all are, as we're stepping into our new selves for the new world, our most authentic selves. And this is where the world is going, because it has to be based in love of truth of God, right? So tonight we're going to talk about how important our emotions are in these segments throughout the whole program, most likely, when they guide me to do these things or talk about things, or I start talking about them. This is why this comes in, because we're all going through this emotional stuff, as well as it'll be a theme, an underlying theme throughout everything, because it's all in the collective consciousness. So tonight in our medical intuitive, we're going to take a look at our emotions, right? And how many different ways, because God is infinite. Everything is infinite, right? And how we all work with God or universe or love is infinite as well, right? So one way is not better than the other. And as long as we come from love, same thing with religions. That's all that matters, is coming from love, right? And love doesn't mean you fold and you lay down or you don't have any power. Love means really, truly that you have all the power, right? Because you're always connected. So one of the things I wanted to focus on before we start is that we started doing this new class about 2 weeks ago. And the class is based on a book that we had, I think Sophia gave to one of our people, Molly, and it was 3001 questions about me, right? And who better to focus on in these times but me, meaning yourselves, right? Why? Because we don't ever sit down and think about ourselves, what we like, what we love, what we want to do. And that has everything to do in these times, because universe said, you're going to do a whole new series of classes, Lynn, and this is going to go on for a while. I'm like, yeah, 3001 questions. It's going to go on a while, right? I'm like, shit. The last two classes we had, right? We did like, what did we do? 12 questions? Yeah, 12 total, 6 questions each, and then we talked about it because we had a group of people, right? And as we're talking about it, right, our emotions and our stuff, because we're being asked questions that are, what was your favorite t-shirt when you were 5? What was your first experience in the hospital? What was your favorite book? What is your favorite book now? What season do you love the most, So it's a great way to get in touch with you and who you truly are. are, right? I'm not saying you have to buy this book, but any kind of book that gets you to ask you questions from the past, the present, the future, that's going to go running through your consciousness, right? So that you can touch in these avenues, right? So we've been doing this class and it's been fantastic for emotional healing. Absolutely. So tonight I wanted to share this with you guys because you can do this yourselves as well. If you don't come to the class with us or you're here with us, absolutely you can do this yourself. And obviously this is because I asked the universe, I said, hey, I need to release these emotions. I need to truly be healthy in all my emotional spaces, be balanced, release this, any toxic emotions that are in everything that is in me, that is buried, that is unwell, and all of this. I need to heal this, God. So please let this be so that I do heal this from love in the purest form, and that I'm the master at my emotional space and my emotions that are all a part of me and all of this that I am and in all that it is. Thank you, God, for that for me. Hi, Debbie Akers. I see you, girl. You put that big little, what do you call those things?
Bitmoji,
Bitmoji, I think. I see you there. I see you. All right. So back to this 3001 book, right? So we're sitting in the class, in the first class, it was like strange because, it was really very much like a therapy. It's almost, you go and you talk to a therapist, or you do a group thing like NA, right? Where people talk about their feelings. I don't know exactly, how it goes down in any particular group, right? However, in this particular case, we all filled out the questions and shared our wisdom. And with this, what was happening, because it's in alignment with the stars, we're releasing our emotional stuff. But here's the ass kicker, right? As we're doing this, right, stuff is coming out. And this has gone on all my life. And I'm sure this has happened for many of you. You get thoughts, you get ideas, you get these random images that just come out. This is what happens to me. Now, this may happen to a lot of you as well, right? You get these, just images of the past, like, you remember an image that doesn't seem like it means anything, but you're releasing it, right? So while you're answering these questions, these thoughts come up, these feelings come up, all these things come up, right? And you sit there and you're like, well, what exactly is this? Well, you're releasing, and this is part of the grand design. This is why universe said to me, go do this, make a whole class on this, right? And share this with our people, right? So here we are, sharing it with us, our people. But the ass kicker, the coolest shit is that, remember, emotions, and this is what universe really coined and put really into great words and understanding for me in this last class that we just did, right? What they said was emotion is the creator of everything, right? So if I pick up this cool little glass dice that I got, that's astrology, right? Astrology dice, right? If I pick that up, it's loaded with the energy of emotions, right? Just like when you pick up something in a shop, right? You go to a shop somewhere and 5 people pick up the same item and they're like, oh, I want that. I better come back for that. Or, oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. And then before you know it, the item is gone, because that energy of everybody wanting it stays on that item. And then it makes you kind of want it. You see? But therefore, it's also likely to go faster. So if you see something that you want, you get it, because that's what happens. That's one of the main reasons why when you see something that you want, you're like, oh, okay, I'll get it later. You come back later and it's gone, because the energy is such that your energy went to wanting that. Other people read that and they went, do I want that? Do you see? So that energy goes for that. And then the second you leave it there, right? Now, of course, you feel in your heart what is right and best for you. But the second you leave that little dice there, right, it has great propensity, 73 to 78%, to be picked up and bought by somebody else. This was a hard learning lesson energetically for me, because I used to walk away from shit. I can't afford that, or I don't want that, or I could never get that, and all this shit. You know what I mean? All these reasons why I couldn't have something, right? Self-worth. What is it that you value, right? All these reasons why I couldn't have this, right? And every single time I would go back for it, and the fucking thing would be gone. I'm like, all right, I'm not allowing myself to have this, so universe isn't allowing me to have it. Do you see? So now every time I see something and I totally fucking resonate with it 110%, I'm like, should we? Yeah. Then we go and we get it from love, right? From love. Always guided by higher knowing. We don't incessantly buy all this shit that we want, right? We feel out with God what is best for us. Because I can go to stores and places with lots and lots of stuff, but only one thing will resonate with me because my soul is calling it in. It is the energy that I need in that moment for whatever its gifts is. Just like all these beautiful astrology. I don't know if you can see these, but in my beautiful video, tearing it up. But I don't know if you can see them, right? But all this energy, the energy is in all these magical astrology dice, right? So the bottom line is everything has all this energy in it, and so do those thoughts, and so does everything that comes in when you do this work, right? So we're sitting in that healing class, and all these images is coming up from my childhood. What did my first boots look like? And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I bought these thigh-high boots, right? And they were suede, and I was like 19 years old, and that was the first pair of boots that I bought, and I thought I was hot shit, and I was like, feeling out my Miley Cyrus energy, when she went into that phase where she did all that twerking and weirdo shit. It's kind of like, yeah, I was my own wrecking ball, right? But I realized that, I had this energy in this image, and I didn't feel good about it. Now that I'm 54 and I'm looking back at that, I'm like, ew. It made me like cringe, right? Even though in a young person's space, it's kind of a rite of passage sometimes, in some ways in the energy that kids, it's like a normal thing to do in Earth World, right? Or young people do. They become an adult. They realize that they're beautiful, right? Physically, right? And then they get the sexy on, and it's new and it's exciting, right? But it doesn't mean it's your healthiest, best space of you. And we all have some of this in us, right? In some way, shape, or form, right? In our energy. It's part of the universal law in Saturn's Earth world, right? So it's kind of like, you're a child, then you grow into a preteen, and then you grow into a teen, and then you're a young adult. It's just kind of like, what would you call that? I'm trying to think. Thanks God for the best words for that now, please. It's like the cycle of maturity in Earth World, right? So while we're doing this class, what the first pair of shoes, the question was, what was the first pair of shoes you bought, right, when you were a kid, or the first pair of shoes that you had when you were a kid, right, or that your mom bought you, right? And these images, they'll come right up and out of you. So this is why I'm telling you this, or I'm being guided by higher knowing to share this with everybody, because those feelings, right, of this wild sexual, unbridled sexual energy, and not necessarily the healthiest form of me, right? However, it doesn't mean that that's bad. How I felt about it is my shit, my truth of God in me in that moment. When it came up, I went, ugh, didn't like how I felt about me, right? So this is all part of those releases. Thanks God for that for me, right? Excuse me. So this is why we're talking about this. When you do this work, you will pull up and out of your psyche or your soul, all right, things that are buried that you had no idea they were in there. And it connects because everything is energy. So you get an image, and that image is all tied up in your emotions. And whether you connect to the emotions or don't or do, like in that case I did, but I've had plenty of images. Like I'll get an image and a pen floats by, right, in my psyche, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, how could that be important for me to release? But it's energy, and with it, just like music, when I tell you to do the music healing, right, in the past, we've talked about that in some of our shows, right? It's all energy, and this energy of that image carries emotions, because this was created by emotions, whether it's in the moment from the people that are all around it, and if you get an image of it, you have retained it in your psyche, in yourself, somewhere, all the energy of that, whether it's in your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, all that you are. Doesn't this make sense? Because emotion is your creator fuel of everything. So when you get an image, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, that's just an image. Okay, God, there must be something connected to that, why I have to release this image of this pen that floating by, and many times you say, okay, God, well, what is that? Ask and you shall receive to understand it. But sometimes you'll feel these incredible feelings like, I didn't feel good about myself when I thought about myself in the past, what an ass I was sexually, like the foolish things that I did, how toxic my behavior was, right? All this crazy shit. But why did that happen? Because I was a kid kid, right? I was young, right? And because, right, we're learning, right? And we carry old world patterns from the past and into this lifetime, right? All the energy that we are from lifetimes, right? So this is about connecting with that buried emotional stuff, whether we realize it or not, so we can release it. We'll see it in images, we'll see it in feelings. And what was really cool too about this as well, is that you will also get to see the things that you love. Like one of the questions, the first question I think in that book was, what did it say about joy? What was the question?
What brings you joy?
Yeah, what brings you joy, right? And what was amazing is how many people would be like, you would expect people to be like, well, in Earth World, I like nice clothes and I like a nice house and I like big things. But what was incredible when we asked everybody these questions, what is it that brings me joy? Everybody said so many of the same beautiful, amazing things. I love the sun on a warm, sunny day to stand in it. I love the breeze on a cool fall day. I love the tornadoes of leaves that come around in the fall, right? I love going outside in the snow and seeing how beautiful it is, right? What's so incredible, excuse me, is that so many of the things that we love are the simplest, amazing things that are just living here in Earth World, being alive, getting to be a person. So fucking amazing. And we're not even paying attention to this shit. We're not even really alive. We're not. We're so busy thinking about all the shit we gotta fucking do and this and that and all this. So this is gonna help you get in touch with yourself in the now, in this reality, right? So you can really experience the things that you love and see those things and change and clear and create that which is best for you from love. And this whole process was really, really incredibly healing and amazing because all these things were released. Some of the people, experienced, last time you went to the hospital, it was like huge, incredible trauma, right? Like I talked about, one of the things was, what was your best present, your best gift, right? From this class, what was the best gift you ever received or your favorite gift, right? And most people in Earth World, well, it's this cup, it's this lighter, it's a thing, right? And what was amazing is how many different things. Everybody loves things. That's the whole essence of Earth World, really, right? Is to live and have things. Things are beautiful, right? It's 3D, right? Or 5D, or you know what I'm saying? It's Earth World, okay? It's Earth World, right? So you're supposed to have things, right? You're supposed to have things. That's the whole idea of it. It's the whole experience of it. Earth World is so fucking amazing. Right? And how many of us really think about these things, right? So this medical intuitive class is really very much so, with what I'm saying here, is really devoted to getting in touch with your authentic emotional self and your life and who you are and living in the now, healing this stuff by doing this kind of work. And it doesn't have to be that book. It could be any book that you want, but you find out that you're truly living, right? But also, so this is what this whole show is about tonight, really. And also your questions, of course, because we want to get people the answers, the God's honest truth, to help and assist them with all of their best health. Okay. And also, there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about, because I was telling people, one of the things that I had was a total emotional release, and there was another person in the group who had a big emotional release, because one was what was your favorite, your best gift, right? One of them was the best gift, and the other one was when was the last time you were in the hospital, right? And who was it with and why, right? So of course that's going to be extremely moving, because when you go to the hospital, it's usually a pretty emotional experience, right? But it's a big deal. It has to do everything to do with your health, right? Especially in Earth World, right? So, but one of the most profound things that I wanted to share with you was my experience before I wrap this little commentary guided by higher knowing from love up with you guys. Before I wrap this up, I wanted to share with you what my favorite present was, and it has everything to do with health, all right? Because way back when, my father got in a really big accident at work. He broke his back in 3 places in his pelvis, and he was in a coma. A lot of you who know me already know this story, so I'm going to do my best to keep it brief. You know how I am. So, what happened is he was in a coma, And we went through a lot. For 2 weeks, we sat there bedside, by his side. My whole entire family, we did shifts of 12 to 14 hours, and 3 or 4 of us would go there, and then we'd switch out for 2 weeks straight. Okay? And during this time, he was in that coma, and there was like 6 months, and the whole experience brought me through many, many, many different things, right? Within this, and it took my father 6 months. He had to have surgery on his back. He was 69 years old, and he had to learn to re-walk again, or learn to walk again, right? He had to go through physical therapy. When he had that accident, I knew in that moment that every moment I had with him was a gift. It was a gift. And so that Christmas, when we all spent time with my dad, and my dad was coherent, and he couldn't remember anything from the 6 months because he was in a coma in the ICU for so long, right? And we all went through this whole really big, profound change with my dad's health, and it affected everybody in my family. But I knew in the moment when he had that accident and he was in the hospital and we went through all that, and that Christmas was the greatest gift I ever had, because I knew in that moment that all that really mattered are the people that you love, the people that you love, right? So, I was super, super grateful, and I knew in that moment that every moment I had with him from that accident on was a gift, right? And I was crying my eyes out, right? This happened just last night, and I can't tell you, because we don't, how profound that was for me, right? The whole release, I would have thought this happened years ago. In fact, it happened when JFK Jr. died, right? It was that weekend. Remember when he dove the plane, right? That was that weekend, right? That my dad had the accident, and I got the call, and it was really crazy, right? But my whole life is full of wild things like this, so that I can do this work, right? Because without these experiences, right, then I don't even really know what the fuck I'm talking about in Earth World. I don't know what it's like to live. I don't know what it's like to experience different things. And I have fucking lists of stuff that I can share with you all. And don't we all really? Don't we all? Yeah. Yeah, we go through it. We go through it. Especially when we have the journeys and what is the word I'm looking for? And the missions that we have, both personal in Earth World as well as in the collective, right? Our whole lifetimes have been about this learning and this schooling, basically, from God or love, right? For exactly what's coming, right? So we can help others, so we can share our experiences, so we can give them guidance, right? Because until you're walking in somebody else's fucking shoes, you don't have a clue, right? It's the same thing as until you're talking to God all the time, right? People say to me, oh, Lynn, I don't think you pray. I pray more than you, and blah, 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 or whatever. I'm like, I really don't give a shit what anyone else thinks about what I do. I don't even think about shit like that, because I don't care about that, right? My job is to be talking with the universe and doing what I love, right? This is what I do. This is what I love. So I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. When you do what you love, you don't, because you're in the zone with God and love, right? Anyways, bringing you back to this space of this emotional healing, right? Through all of this and this classes. That was the gift that I wanted to share with you, is that we all so many times think in Earth World that it's things, but when we discover ourselves, it's really not that at all. It's the amazing experiences that we have, right? That bring in all these emotions, right? And being in the healthiest space of them and being our new authentic selves in our hearts, healing our emotions, having the best, healthiest balance of all that we are in the energy, right? Is where we're all going for the new world. So this is a profound gift from the universe that I want to share with you. If you can get these books, do it at home, do it yourself. It's just not unlike a therapy class where you all share your stuff. If you're comfortable with it, you can, but you can do it at home alone too, right? Or you can do it with a couple of friends, right? So this is what universe has been guiding me to share with you, because this emotional stuff is big shit, And like I said, when we don't heal ourselves, or we're working on healing ourselves, or we're not getting the message, right? We end up with physical sicknesses, things that, emotional sicknesses. We're debilitated emotionally. We end up with bipolar, schizophrenia, anxiety, learning disorders, physical ailments, really tough shit, because we're not knowing and doing from love in the purest form, and how things truly work to live our greatest lives. But this is why we're doing this work. This is why we're on the planet, so that we can heal ourselves, live our greatest lives, and change everything that's going on here. So again, this is really profound, and it's super important for your best health, because emotions manifest just like viruses. I used to work with a shaman. Her first name was Sarah. She's a riot. I think I've told you about her before and how ornery she was, right? I worked with her for years when I was in my early 30s, right? And she was fantastic. In fact, she taught me so much that I know about oils and flower essences and natural meds, and really incredible woman. And, but bringing me back to her, hold on one second. Thanks God for bringing me back to this space. I'm trying to think, why was I talking about her now, God? Right? We go into these spaces with the universe. Thanks for bringing me back there now, please, from love in the purest form. But I worked with Sarah for years and years, so I went through a whole bunch of really incredible emotional stuff with her, and we, for healing with your flower essences and your oils, right? And in these spaces, I'm just going to ask God to clear some of this energy out that's in our way. Thank you, God, for that for us. But the best way to be back, bring us back into the harmony of the energy we're in with you from love in the purest form. Thank you, God, for that for us. Now, please, in the best way for us to know something better. And thank you, God, for that for us. Okay, so going back to here, Sarah was really instrumental as a shaman in working with me through my emotional stuff, right? And it's really profound when we heal ourselves that we won't be sick, or will be less likely to become super unwell when we do our stuff emotionally. So this is really what I want to convey to you with this. So it's great tools for wisdom, just like when we do the music healings here, when I told you to do the music, right? Because they connect you with time, essence of the energies of those times, 1920s, 1930s. Listen to music for this, for healing, right? Do your spiritual work. Ask God, what music should you listen to? Because everything is energy, and for emotional healing, you can connect with the music, you can connect with the art, you can connect with things, you can connect with these things for your best healing. Okay, so back to this. I'm going to take questions now. Best guidance for you guys from love for tonight with all this emotional stuff. And if I'm meant to bring back some of that other stuff when I started to talk about my shaman and how great she was, bring it back to us now, please, God, from love. And because I'm sure there's wonderful guidance in there. And if it's meant to be, it will come. Thank you, God, for that for us. Okay, so who has questions tonight? Anybody in the audience? Okay. Okay, Steve. Okay, Steve's here. He's
about babies a lot lately, like babies under one. And maybe it's like healing myself, self-love kind of stuff. But I dreamed about a baby the other night, and just kind of wondering what that is, and really connecting with the baby, loving the baby. And I'm not usually one to fuss over that stuff. And maybe it's because my sister's having a baby. Maybe it has to do with some of my journey. I don't think it's because Zach or somebody's having a baby. But just wondering what you get on me dreaming about babies and thinking about babies and kind of longing for babies. I'm obviously not going to have a baby.
Okay, so you're saying babies have been coming in for you. All right. Yeah, this has everything to do with emotional healing, which is why we just talked about all this. This is about your soul working through this energy. One baby, right? One baby. First house in astrology. It's your Aries house. It's your baby house, working through baby energies. Where are you a baby? Where are you treating others like a baby? I feel like your soul emotionally is working on this stuff, right? It has to, because we can't be an adult, right? Or a man, right? Whoever we are, if we're always in a baby mode, You know what I mean? Or have baby energy running through us, right? It's hard to be responsible if we have baby stuff. So I feel that your soul, whether it's conscious, subconscious, whether you're aware of it or not, energetically and emotionally, your soul is going through it, right? It's trying to figure it out. It's trying to release it. It's trying to work it out. Because when I get an image, I get lots and lots of little babies in there, lots and lots of babies. So, and also what's coming in is the lifetimes of this. In other words, you have had lifetimes where you've been a baby, you love being a baby, and you don't want to release that energy. Do you see what I'm saying? There's also something else about this too that's coming in. Thank you, God, for bringing me there now, please. I'm just going to sage again. Because there was some wisdom here about more wisdom about being a baby. So bring that to us now, please, God, from love. God's honest truth of it. Yeah, and they're telling me that every single person has an inner child, right? And your inner child sometimes, right, your inner child is like the baby in you, right? And there's a healthy space of it, and then there's a not so healthy space. When the inner child takes over your whole world, and it is a child or it is a baby, it's hard to function in adult world. It's hard to be responsible in all ways, and that's for any of us, right? So just like, my sister, when she was growing up, she was the baby of the family, right? I would treat her like the baby. Everybody would treat her like the baby. It was baby Jennifer. Oh, the baby. My parents would spoil her. She was the baby, right? And I would spoil her, and she was the baby. And for years, she loved it. Until then she got to, her spiritual journey. She's in a different space, and she's like, I don't want to be the baby anymore. I want to be in power. Because she said to me, why can't I get rid of this baby energy? I said, well, you have to make a decision. You either want to be the baby or you want to be a power girl or an adult. Who do you want to be? What is it that you want to do and be? See? So it's complex. It's not just small things. It's big, right? Just like my sister used to work with this man in the restaurant, right? He used to go around saying, why won't you date me? I'm a grown-ass man. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm a grown-ass man. And I'm going, he ain't no grown-ass man, because a grown-ass man doesn't have to go around telling everybody he's a grown-ass man. He's convincing himself. Do you see? Yeah, because our actions, the same thing here. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about what I do, really. I'll ask them, guided by higher knowing, and I'll talk to them, and I'll work with them, right? But I don't give a shit, because I know who I am in my God space with love, right? And that's truth of anybody. When you're comfortable in who you are, right, in the love energy space that you are, just like a lion or a deer, they came in to be those things, and just like the emotional stuff, they're emotionally living it, and they're in the now. This is what most people can't even get close to. Right? So while they think they're living and they think they know what's going on, they're so detached, emotionally disconnected, emotionally from their reality, from this, from that, from everything, right? And they're not really living, right? Or they're in these spaces where they're trying to be a grown-ass man. The second somebody says shit like this to you, then you know something's going on. And it's okay to love the baby, then own it. You know what I mean? If you want to be this person, whoever it is, and you're consciously aware of it, that's okay. But know when you're in these energies, you cannot expect somebody else, somebody to take you seriously if you always want somebody to take care of you and go to somebody all the time to help you out and, never want to take responsibility for you, whatever it is. And it happens over and over and over. Even people in my sister's life would be like, oh, they would all treat her like she was the baby, and they would dote on her, and she loved it until one day she didn't want to be that person anymore. She wanted a power energy, and she'd go, how come all these people, Lynn, always ask you and they walk right by me? And I was like, what the fuck? Let me ask God about that, right? And when what happens is, and this is what came in, when people don't acknowledge you, you have to say, why is that happening, right? Because if they see you as a baby, or whether you're consciously aware of it or not, that energy comes out of you in all your actions and everything you are, and it's an emotional energy, especially a baby. What does a baby do when it doesn't get what it wants? It cries, it whines, it moans, it acts out, right? So think about where you're acting out, right? Because that's your emotional baby, right? In all of us, you're going to have that in some way, shape, or form. And it's okay. It's good for you to feel your emotions in your people space. It's good for you to scream, release it, and let it out, right? It's good for you. right? But in the healthiest, best way, at the healthiest, best times, right? When you don't know when that is, you ask God that you do, right? You ask the universe to clear it, to heal it, to connect with it, to release it, to process it, to feel it, and be free of it, and put the best way to be from love in the purest form. In this reality, any reality, and all that is. And thank you, God, for that for us, right?
Thank you, God, for that for me.
Right? So whether it's a baby or, somebody's trying to convince themselves they're a grown-ass man, or whoever it is, whatever your issue is, you know what I mean? You can't be super powerful and independent if you want to be a child, or you're acting like a baby, or you have those energies in you, right? It's just like it's hard for people to take you seriously, if you've always been non-responsible, right, all your life, or you haven't done what it takes, right, or you're not responsible, meaning you're not paying your bills, you're not getting this done, you're not getting that done, or this is happening, and they see you as a fuck up, right? They see you as a fuck up. Well, they're not going to respect you, they're not going to honor you, right? But really, this is about how you see yourself, really, right? But you'll know by how people are treating you and what's going on in your reality if it's working for you or not, or where you have an issue or not, right? Because if I don't have any friends, if I'm challenged, with talking to people, or I'm always late for work, or I do whatever the fuck I want, and I run reckless over other people's feelings, at some point I'm going to have no friends. I'm going to have a rough time. At some point I'm going to come to the crossroads, and I'm going to be looking at myself in the mirror saying, you know what? I don't like this guy. Right? So what do I got to do to change me, to be the best me I can be from love, right? To love. Thanks God for that for me, right? And so much of this is tied up in our emotions, and subconsciously we don't even realize it's there. That's why that 3001 book is fantastic, right? Because by going to those spaces, when it asks you a question in this reality, in Earth world, it works metaphysically too. It brings you right to that space in you, especially with the stars and the transit and your solar chart and everything that's happening. Those are tools, or the wisdom of God, or the catalysts that will help and assist you in releasing this energy. Because if I'm doing this now, it's in alignment with the stars. And this is truth of God. Just like when I do readings for everybody, right? Whatever I do and teach, it's guided by highest knowing, whether I'm consciously aware of it or not. My soul came in to do this. I said, God, let's do this. If I'm supposed to be this guy, let me be this guy, right? And all of these gifts and tools are all part of the grand design to help us to be well. And what we're doing here in this show is we're capitalizing on that energy. Does that make sense? Yeah. So there is nothing wrong with you, meaning that we all have different challenges, and a lot of the energy is subconscious. And why would that be? Because we've been hurt so more often than not. So many lifetimes we didn't get the nurturing we need, the loving we need, the connection we need, right? And then we act out like out here. And so more often than not, we can't even see when our actions are fucked up or unhealthy. Do you know what I mean? But we can tell when people start to not like us, or not give a shit about us, or don't want to be around us, right? Or things happen in universe where the universe will literally remove people and places from you that are toxic, right? Or you from that situation, right? And you have to say to yourself, okay, well, why is this happening? What did I ask God for? What did everybody else ask God for? If you happen to know about it, that always helps with the whole grand plan and picture, right? Because everything is about higher knowing and how things truly work, right? But you can utilize these tools by what's happening in Earth world to heal you in here, right? Along with the stars, along with numbers or numerology and everything that is God. Just like I went in the car, right? Just this morning, and I was turned on the radio, and Jennifer ran into the shop this morning, and I'm blasting the radio, and the Talking Heads song comes on, and it goes, watch out. You might get what you asked for, right? And I'm like, yeah! Because I've been asking God for huge stuff, right? And that's God answering me through the radio, right? But in the meantime, the rest of the song is burning down the house. That's Pluto. So God's like, you're going to get it. We just got to take care of this first. Wait for it, right? 5 minutes later, what song comes on? Journey, right? What's the first song in that? What does it say? What was the name of that song? I'm trying to think. It's along the same lines. Thanks God for bringing that in now, please. because that song came in not even 5 minutes later. And this is God saying, you're going to get what you asked for. They're burning down the house. Yeah, that's Pluto. They're ripping everything down because it's not truth of God. And if you're in alignment with God, universe is going to tell you, what is it that you ask for? It's coming. Your dreams are coming. And that's literally what they said to me in the song, in the music. It was a Steve Perry song. It's a really famous one. I'm trying to think. It starts out something along. You're gonna get what
any way you want.
Any way you want it. That's the way you need it. Any way you want it. Yeah, that's it. That's totally it. Now we're singers. We're groupies, right? Okay. So yeah, it was Any Way You Want It, right? So that song comes in, right? So to tell us another variation of this same message, right? So if you're listening and you're consciously aware and you ask God for those gifts, you're going to know. You're going to know, like, I can go into a space and look at the table and I'll know, and instantly something will pop out to me because it's an answer to something I asked God for, or it's some kind of wisdom that I needed to know, or something will come in from over here, but instantly you'll know because it'll shine. You'll feel it. It'll tweak you. What?
And then it was the hold tight, hold tight.
Yeah, but it was,
That was part of the message, too.
Yeah, hold tight. I think you're right. Yeah, that was the other message Jen's telling me in the Journey song, too, because we were blasting and we were screaming it, singing it, like we're 5. Like we're babies! You know what I mean? And, but now we're living. We're really in our energy of being, our emotional energy of being alive. You know what I mean? So this is part of that. But that's what she said. Hold tight. That's what it said in the song. It said what it was any way you want it, just the way you need it, any way you want it. So that is telling me that, but it's also saying hold tight because it's coming. It's coming while they're burning down the house. It's like while they're tearing up the world, it's coming for you, And but all of these changes that are in my life, no matter how difficult and challenging they are, they're in alignment with everything that I ask God for. Right? So this is all of this. Does this make sense? Yeah. I know it's not what you want to hear.
I'm not excited about it, but yeah.
What? But you should be, man, because your soul is working on this emotional healing in you. It happens in dreams. People tell me, oh, I got 3 or 4 dreams over and over, and some of it's really disturbing, and they go, ugh. My soul goes, ugh, even with me. And I know that my soul's working out. When I wake up, I ask universe to release this emotionally and in all ways, and to feel it, to heal it, to release it, to process it, and put the best way to be from love in place of that with all this energy and in that emotional space as well. Thank you, God, for that for us, from love in the purest form, in this reality, any reality, and all that is. So you should be thrilled because you're moving forward and you're making breakthroughs that you need to make. You will also notice if you're going in the right direction in your reality, right? So what does that mean? So if you find that all of a sudden, people are listening to you more, they're respecting you more, right? They're honoring you more, and you're realizing that you're getting stuff done that you couldn't get done before, right? You're in a more harmonious environment, or do you see what I'm saying? Universe will show you, right, how you're in alignment with them or how you are not by what is happening in your reality all the time, right? And it gets really subtle and fine-tuned as you get to higher levels of consciousness. What are you laughing about, girl? Anything you want to share? Yeah. No, and that's for all of us, really, right? So anybody else from the audience? Any questions?
I do.
Yeah? Sophia does. Go ahead, Sophia.
Well, I've had ankle problems in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I broke my ankle.
Yep.
And for the past few years, it's been fine. But just the past few days, I've been wiping out a lot and twisting my ankle, and it really sucks. Sorry. But when I walk the dogs, we walk them in this field, and there's this one hole I always fall in, every single time. I'm fuck me. Every time it happens, I'm like, oh, shit, this sucks.
All right. Sophia's saying she has a lot of ankle problems, right? That she's been having physically, right, when she walks the dog, and then keep on happening. Well, one of the best things to do is ask God to be free of it. Ask love to be free of it. Ask love to be free of stepping in that hole or being near that hole, right? Thank you, God, for that for us, right? So you have to say to yourself, what am I afraid of that I don't, that I keep stepping in the hole and hurting myself? The other thing is, why does this keep happening? It's your ankle. Your ankle is a pivotal point. It helps you twist and turn and adjust and adapt. Where in your life are you not able to do that? Do you see what I'm saying? All right, whether you consciously realize it or not. Also, is it your right side or your left side?
It's my right side.
Your right side is your power space, right? Where are you not comfortable having to pivot and do different things? And what's coming in is the GED thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like 1 minute you're in the zone doing the GED thing, and then you find out, some more information about it, and then you have to pivot and twist, and all of a sudden it's like the wind was sucked out of you because you were rolling with that energy and doing that work. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, no, that was just about you adapting and being able to adapt. And that's a Libra energy. That's a Venus energy, having the ability to adapt, right? Just like this one book that I read in the past, and I know this is right on, where they talked about the babies with the health issues. And more often than not, when children have health issues, their Libra and their Venus placements are profound, right? When they have a new baby or a preemie or a child that's sick, when it's a baby, right? One of the important things is the aspects in the child's chart. There will be many of them, but one of the massive deciding factors is that Libra energy, because Libra is balance. If they don't have a strong placement in that Venus or Libra energy, or placements in that energy, they're not able to adapt to Earth world, right? I bet you, in reference to bringing in your baby, we should really look at your baby's chart as to see why he exited out and how strong his Libra was, you know what I mean? Or his Venus, really. Because this energy, right, is one of those energies. Libra is the ability to adapt, right, to any circumstance in any situation. And again, you've come in as a Libra with powerful placements in your chart, in your sun sign, as all of that. Do you see what I'm saying? So, let me just see here. This definitely plays a role here for you being able to balance all these things. But going back to the babies, right? The babies can't stay in if they don't have the ability to adapt, to heal, to change, so that they can stay in. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, and it was incredible stuff. I read like this whole entire book, Guided by God and Higher Power. Massive healing for me there as well. But that's how it works. I ask God a question and God leads me to this book or this pen in Earthworld, whatever it is I need from love, based on ask and you shall receive, whatever it is I need, right? Whether it's healing or it's, emotional healing, or it's, some new warm clothes, or it's money, or it's friends, or it's time off, or whatever it is, right? Sometimes we ask God for big things like changing the world, and then, we don't live in a house anymore. Because these are the kinds of things that have to happen for us, right? Guided by highest knowing of what exactly it is that my soul needs to bring me to the dreams that I ask for. And they're not always going to be like in hunky-dory alignment with what I think should be happening here in Earthworld. Same with my sicknesses and stuff, right? Or being sick, right? This is all part of our journey. We think it's going to be like X, and way more often than not, it's not in the way that we think in Earthworld, right? Truth of God. Always, right? It's not simple. I ask for a pen. I could get an infinite amount of different types of pens, from a pen that works like this to a pen that works like this, right? So the more specific you are, the better. But some things, right? Like when you ask God for huge, massive things, that people go, oh, I asked God to win the lottery and I still haven't won it, right? Well, you have to get yourself in a healthy space of self-worth before you can bring in massive amounts of money, right? Or massive amounts of really great things for you, right? Because as long as you don't feel good about you in some way, shape, or form, or you're in a deficit for you in that space, it's that much harder to get those things to happen for you, because all that shit stands like a big block in your way, right? So this ankle thing, take it easy. They're telling me you got to be more present. You're not present. When I look at you, you're like your head is in the stars. Does that make sense to you? And I know your mom, and she had a lot of issues like that too.
I knew your mom too.
She knew my mom. My mom. All right. So there's a bunch of different things going on here. Take it easy. This has to do too with the mold sickness and connective tissue stuff, right? So L-lysine, right? And it's really time for you to get back on a good health program, meaning add more fruits and vegetables and stuff is what they're telling me, as well as the best supplements for you in reference to this. Think about connective tissue disorder and digestive stuff. So like L-lysine is really good for that, an amino acid that you can look into as well. Again, the salts, but it's about getting what you need and consistently. Do you see what I'm saying? So we can make a plan for you as well, a personal plan for you. But a lot of it, everybody, just like everybody here, you already know what to do yourselves, right? Yeah, because it's already in here, right? We're our greatest healers. It's all right here. Ask, right? So you got this. So take a little bit of a different route, you know what I mean, when you're walking the dogs. Mm-hmm. All right? All right. So in case any of you didn't know what we were talking about, Sophia keeps twisting her ankle. We were talking about it being a power space, and where do you not want to move forward or step into your power? Where are you holding you back, kind of thing. So the metaphysical work there, and also talking about Libra and balance, and Libra, the ability to adapt. And if you think about it, that's really true. They say Libra, all right, Vladimir Putin is a Libra, October 7th, right? And what do they say about leaders like that? It's like the iron fist in the velvet glove, right? So that's an ability to adapt, to be able to talk to people, right? And they say that Libra, and this would make sense as well, and Venus, right, are the best communicators in the zodiac. Pretty neat shit, right? But that would make sense because they're all about what? Relationships. If you're all about relationships with all these different people in the world and all over the world, or whatever it is that you do, you're all about relationships, and you have like a stellium in Libra, right? All this Libra, Libra rising, Libra moon, Libra sun, right? When you have all these things, you're about relationships, right? So this is all part of this kind of energy and your journey, right? So that you can live your greatest life. But I want to share those things with everybody and you, okay? Because being a great leader, right, is a power space. It's a power space, right? Vladimir Putin's birthday happens to be yours, right? Same birthday. So we're going to have a lot of really great aspects that are similar here, right? It doesn't mean everything that he is good, right? Just like most people, I could pull out, if everybody in my show and everybody out here, I could pull out all these nasty things about every fucking one of you. So when you start telling me about how he's so bad, take a look at yourself. You know what I mean? Whoever it is, right? Because that's truth of God, and that's part of my gifts. It's not to make you feel bad about yourself. It's to what? Help you heal it. Right? Because if I can't pull the psychological bullshit out of you, or toxic out of you, or emotional stuff going on in you, if I can't see it, then I can't help you. But you don't get these kinds of gifts of God without being in that space. You know what I'm saying? But you have this. You got this. This is about tweaking a little bit, paying attention to what's going on, right? Pray on your stuff before you go out, right? Adding. It doesn't mean you have to be drastic, right? Start doing some kind of regimen that works for you, right? In the healthiest, best way. How do you do that? You ask God for the best one from love. Okay? You got this. And I get in 2 to 3 weeks, you're gonna start to feel better right away. Also, the digestive enzymes we've talked about, because that's going to help you assimilate your food better, right? Because your immune system is down, right? And the whole world is going through this with the shot shedding and everybody's immune system. It's like living in some kind of variation in Earth world of the boy in the plastic bubble. There's massive amounts of sickness going on that nobody's even talking about. Well, I don't feel good today, and it's in young people, it's in old people, and it's all different variations of this shit, right? Or toxins, this kind of toxin, whether it's plastic toxin, the toxins in our food, yeast, or, there's 1,000,001 different kinds of poisons out there. It's infinite, right? So the more you make yourself a plan, start changing some of these things, one thing at a time, but be consistent, right? Because it's not enough doing it for a day here and a day there. And we all do this. We get busy and we don't change it, or we sort of change it, or we fall back into those patterns, right? So we ask God that we do, and we start working on our stuff in here so we can really, truly change that in the meantime. So we work with these energies, you see. And if we try, and we also ask for the best way to do it here in Earth World. Why? Because if I start to say that I can't have, oh my God, these Hershey Kisses, then right there I'm going to go and want to go for them. But if I heal the stuff in me, emotionally and in all energy that it is, that makes me want those Hershey Kisses, then I won't want them anymore, right? And then I may have less ailments because I'm not eating as much sugar, and let's say heal. If I had diabetes, it may heal that, or it may help to heal that. Do you see what I'm saying? Or that energy goes to making me feel better, right? So these are all things for you to think about, and you have to just rebuild your immune system to be more well, right? And so if you don't know how to do that, or you don't have the best plan, you ask God, you ask love for it. Do you see? But all of these things are part of that, and you can do it. But when we start to get overwhelmed with it, then we're not going to do it, because it's just like, oh my God, it's too much, and ask God to be free of that as well, right? Yeah. Okay, so you good?
Yep.
Okay, how about you, Mark? You got anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, yeah. How about you, Jen?
No, I got nothing.
All right. Ray?
Not personally, but I got questions from online.
All right, let's do online. Oh, what time are we at? Just so I keep an eye.
It's 8:15.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know it's 8:15. You heading out?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
Bye,
Steve. Have a great night.
Steve.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Teresa Courtney Lloyd is asking how her mom passed. She said it's been questioned by some people.
The first thing that comes in, Teresa Courtney Lloyd, is heart failure. That's the biggest thing that comes in. There were underlying things that were going on there. And when I say heart failure, it's not just about physical, it's about metaphysical. If we're not, and there's many variations of that as well, right? The main number one, for most people in Earth World, especially prior to this new world that is coming in, it's the new world that is coming in. It's about self-love, and it's about being in your heart for you, right? But this is all those things that as women in the past, people didn't do, right? Women were like, you should be there for other people. You should take care of your husband. You should take care of your family. And then you would always come last, right? And so there's challenges there in loving you and caring for you. And this is for her, right? So she had those kinds of challenges, let me just see. They're telling me it's her heart. What comes in as well, along with this, right, is clogged arteries, right? Because that's your life force energy. You're not really living for you. So I feel that she had some blockages in there. Hold on one second. I just want to see what else they're telling me. No, I feel like her brain really was okay. In terms of this. I'm just looking at it. Is there anything else for her with this? And in Earth World, they made a lot of food, because a lot of really good, delicious food, because she didn't get the sweet stuff because they loved food. So that was part of how they got their needs met. And that's very common in Earth World, especially with Jupiter, and anybody who has Jupiter or Sag aspects in them that are pretty prominent and powerful, because Sag and Jupiter, they're about abundance, right? And so this comes in, that, and a lot of people did this. It was kind of like in the times, you sat down with your family, you're with the people that you love, you get what you need when you love, when you have family dinners, just like holidays, Thanksgiving, all that good stuff, you eat delicious food, right? So she would make delicious food, and this is all part of the culprits in Earth World that balance and go hand in hand with the energy as to why she did pass away. But the main reason is really metaphysical, and that's about being in her heart and not living for her. But the symptoms will come out in the physical reality over here through the foods that she eats and makes. And while it's a lovely thing, because that was how they were getting their nurturing, through delicious food, their love through delicious food, their attention, the good things to feel good about themselves, just like the sweet stuff. When I'm not getting what I need emotionally, right, I'm going to go for the sweet stuff, right? And now this is like, not everybody is the same exact way, of course, but this is definitely one of those things in Earth World that we do, right? Or that is a subconscious energy that goes with when we're not getting our needs met, right? When we're not allowed to feel our emotions, we crave like the sweet stuff, or eating a lot, or we have emotional eating. Do you see what I'm saying? So there, and then there's a propensity in the culture or the society or the times, right, for just like with my family, my mom would make these beautiful, amazing meals, and they would be so delicious, and everybody would love to come to my mom's house to eat, and we would all eat, and the family gets together, and you have the best time. And that's filled with love and healing. So food then becomes that. And while it's a beautiful thing, there has to be a healthy balance of it, because when there's not, like if our hearts aren't healed, then that can become toxic. And that's what universe is showing me and guiding me to share with you. Okay, girl? Thanks. All right, who's next?
Jen Lloyd is asking for some emotional support. Essentially, her mom passed, and she's just having a rough time. It's been a while since her mom passed, though, so it wasn't anything just recently happened. She's just having an emotional release these days.
Yeah, this is tough times, and totally get it. Oh, do you see these? Emotional release. I'm just fucking around. I totally get it. Trying to make you smile, girl. Okay, so... Yeah, that's not unlike me with what I went through with my dad, and this is not uncommon. So she's looking for stuff to help her release. Is that what you said?
She was just saying she is very emotional these days.
Looking for support.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is releasing that. One of the things that you can do is physical exercise that comes in. You can also do frankincense, Young Living essential oils, or doTERRA essential oils. Those are two really good high vibrational oils. You can use frankincense, you can use lavender, you can use bergamot, you can use stress away. I think they have one even. Do they have one that's called release or something?
I believe they do.
I think they do. However, one of my favorites for release that's really powerful is the lavender, and it's also very calming as well. Now, again, you can use it in multiple different ways. You can research it. You can PM me, because you can use them in diffusers. I also love frankincense as well, but that's one of my favorites, one of my go-tos, because it's frankincense and myrrh were what they used, with the Christ energy way back when, and it's all around the Christmas and the three wise men, so they're very powerful oils with Christ healing energy in them, right? Frankincense and myrrh, right? So that said, that comes in really good for you to help heal this, the frankincense and myrrh. And you can mix it with a carrier oil, and they're telling me you could, use it on your wrists if you feel. And again, do the research. When I say research, look it up. Or you can PM me for more specific things in reference to this, and I'll gladly get you those. Also, ask God, ask love to release it, to feel it, to connect with this energy. Excuse me. And this is for everybody. Ask love, ask God, ask universe to connect with this energy, all energy that is all of this, connect with it emotionally, in all that it is, to feel it, to process it, to heal it, to release it, to clear it, and to put the best way to be from love in place of this, and the purest form in this reality, any reality, and all that is. Thank you, God, for these gifts in our souls, and in all we are, be, say, do, and create in the best way for us, and all or something better. Thank you, God, for that for us. Okay, so this will start you on this path if you so choose for this. Also, let me just see. So this will totally help you release this way faster each time it comes in, but allot yourself time to take a break, to rest, to cry. So more often than not, we like wipe away our tears, and we don't allow ourselves to cry, and we don't allow ourselves to get a hug when we're uncomfortable with our emotions of grief, of crying, and we don't like to see it that way, or we feel like that it's a less than power space, that if we're emotional, right, we're weak and we don't have any power, and we don't want others to see us like that, right? And there's so much earth world conditioning that is that, right? And that's the kind of stuff that doesn't that in our psyche then makes it okay, right, to push shit down and make us not feel stuff. So I'm going to ask the universe to clear all this energy out of us, right? To all energy that is all of this, and including for you, Jen Lloyd, and all of us. And thank you for this gift, because this is fantastic for our best emotional healing for all of us, really, right? All energy that is all of this, God. Let us connect to it now, please, from love, emotionally, and in all that it is, right? And let us feel it, release it, process it, clear it, heal it, and be free of it. And in place of all this energy and all these emotions, let's put the best way to be from love in the purest form in this reality, any reality, and all that is. And thank you, God, for that for us now, please, in our souls, and in all we are, be, say, do, and create, and all that it is, in the best way for us and all or something better. Thank you, God, for that for us. So this should really help you go forward on your way, girl, for your best healing, but give yourself time in Earth World. They're telling me, sit down, have a cup of tea, read a book, just relax a little bit. If you feel like you need to cry, let it out, right? Give yourself a time and a space alone for you, okay? Super, super important, right? I get people who come to me and they're grieving infinitely for years, right? Like 5 years goes by and they're still a mess, and they've lost their husband or their lover or their child or their best friend, and they just can't get over it, right? These are some of the challenges that we have. I mean, grief is no joke, right? So, but we also need a healthy way to grieve, in the healthiest, best balanced way, that Venus Libra energy, a balanced way, right? Thank you, God, for that for us from love.
Thank you.
Yep. So there you go, too. Some of that as well. All right, girl? All right. So who's next?
Sarah Sutra is also looking for some emotional support. She's having a rough time right now. She got fired from her job today. She believes it was ageism, essentially. She says she worked so hard at her job for a long time, and they made up untruths about her work. They kept writing her up, and her belief system is different from theirs, and
oh yeah,
all that goes with this.
Oh yeah, these are fuck storm times.
Right?
They absolutely are, because we're dealing with so much darkness. So in my people space, Sarah, totally feel for you. But really, this is the beginning of your new greatest destiny. This is universe doing you a favor, right? Because these people aren't your friends. They were never your friends. They're toxic, just like everybody in my life from the past, really. At one point, we feel like we can resonate with them, and we think they're our friends, and sometimes we just outgrow them, and we have to release them and let them go, right? But when people start doing toxic shit, and you know about it, and it happens over and over and over, it couldn't be more clear in your reality that it's time to move on. So universe actually did you a favor with this, right? It's really time for you to start really going into your healing gifts, is what they're telling me, moving forward with this. But I am going to ask universe to remove all these energies and all this consciousness that is all of this, emotional and in all that it is, from you, that created all this to happen, that keeps these events in your life being toxic like this for you and going down in this way, and is all of this energy, right? I'm going to ask God that we connect to it emotionally, all that has to do with this and all that is this. Then that we connect to it emotionally and in our emotions, right? We feel it, we release it, we process it, we balance it, we change it, we heal it, and make it and release all of this. And in place of this, put the best way to be from love in the purest form, in this reality, any reality, and all that is. And thank you, God, for that for us. Thank you for these gifts in our souls and in all we are, be, say, do, and create in the best way for us and all, or something better. And thank you, God, for that for us. So all these prayers, all these energy words that I speak, all of this is all part of healing energy that removes stuff from you. And then we put the best way to be from love. And anything I can do here, you can do, right? And if you need assistance and you come on our shows, and the more we do it, the more you do it, the more it happens, the coolest shit that your life becomes, right? Even more and more and more and more and more better. All right. So this should help you on your way, girl. Take it easy. They're telling me to tell you. You're going to be releasing stuff for the next 3 or 4 days. And start thinking about what you love to do and where you want to go from here. They're telling me you're going to be fine. All right. And ask that you are. Start creating what you want to do. Ask universe for all the gifts and tools and things that you need, and they will come. The more you work with this energy, the more you work with love, because the time is now. So it is totally happening. I had the universe tell me some wild ass shit about me today and in the last several days, and I'm sitting here going, oh no, man, I'm like, I have to wrap my fucking head around it, right? I really do. In my people space, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. I don't know if I'm ready to tell the world that right now, God. So I might just put this right over here for a little bit, right? Or say it in a different way that's palatable to most people. Because, just like when I talk about Vladimir Putin as possibly being very much so the person who's going to stand up to this nasty, toxic evil, right? Most people can't even think about that, right? They're like, oh, fucking no way. And they get all wild and violent and nasty, right? But the truth of God is infinite and happens in magical ways, right? And, it's way beyond the capacity. And that's why we're here, high-end love energy beings, is to teach this to the world, right? To put people in a different way, a different space of being a love energy being and teaching this stuff to the world. Absolutely, right? So, these things don't always happen in the way that we think they should be best happening, right? With all of this for you. But you got this, girl. You're going to do great. I'm just going to ask, is there anything else for you? They're telling me, just take it easy, get some rest, because these times there's a lot of crazy energy. And we're also, know this, like with the dips that I'm having, like sometimes I notice like in our thinking, like the other day was a rough thinking day. Me and Rachel were trying to do all these court papers here. It was, oh my God, it like took us like 3 fucking hours to do these court papers, and my head was like, oh, and I'm trying to talk to her, but I couldn't think right? And in the past I'd be like, well, maybe it's a sickness and this and that and the other, right? Or that my immune system is lowered, so you can't think right when you don't feel good, right? But the bottom line is, right, what's happening is we're being rewired across the board in everything that we are for our hearts to get in our heart space with this new energy and our new destinies. So we're going to have periods that are going to be weird like that, where we can't think, or, different physical things and physical like ailments that we're going to notice, whether, what are some of them, where we feel kind of strange, or, there's all these typical, like people say, oh, like ascension symptoms. Yeah, there's going to be stuff like that. But one of the biggest things I've been noticing with all of this is a rewiring, right? Because we have to change from our hearts to our new destinies. So this is kind of like it would be in your head, right? Because we have to start thinking with our hearts. These go together, but this governs everything. You see? So we're going to have some challenges with this. So take your time, relax. But this is good for everybody to know, because, I'm sitting there like with Rachel the other day, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm like, I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. And even tonight I'm having like these dips in the energy where I'm like, what the fuck just happened to me? What was I talking about? And then I'm like, okay, God, bring me back there now. Release this, clear me from this, change this, right? And so that's what you do, right? And universe will bring you through it with flying colors. Love, work with love, and you're going to get through this too, girl. And really, this is a blessing. You got this. All right. So who's next?
Susie Lynn, I think.
Hey, Susie Lynn, thanks for coming.
She is, sorry, my computer's let down. She said that her dad is failing in his health. He is not metaphysical in the sense that we are. He has COPD, and it is causing his oxygen levels to drop really low.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, your dad's stuff. Yeah, your dad's stuff is complex. The first thing that comes in is his stomach. What's going on with his stomach? Because his stomach feels like the universe says to me, his stomach, right? All the things that he cannot stomach, right? But also COPD is breathing, has to do with the lungs, right? So the things that, where is he not breathing freely? Where is he not comfortable breathing for himself, breathing the breath of life, right? So these things are all energetic things to explore for him, right? And then you could look into also the houses in astrology for the houses that govern your lungs, right? And that's all part of your, it goes along with your circulatory system, just like the COVID stuff. The COVID-19 is your lungs, your throat, your heart, right? And that's totally shutting down your self-love space, of course, your passion where you love you. So these are all reasons why these things are happening out here metaphysically. This is all part of this. So what is she looking to do? Did she say?
That's kind of what she typed in. I don't know if she was looking for more advice on it or what you thought on it.
Yeah. I feel like he's on medicines, right? And I think he would do great really with the cell salts. And we talked about the cell salts for your dog this week, right? With seizures and stuff. Fantastic stuff. We have a big German Shepherd that we can go with this. But what I would like to know is the meds that he's on. I feel like he's on some meds for some different things. So, we want to figure out a plan where we could work this out.
She said he is a Vietnam vet. I don't know if that adds anything for you. Special Forces, she said.
Yeah. Wow. It does add something. What's the name of the sickness? What is it?
PTSD?
Yeah, but there was something else. Didn't he have lung stuff?
COPD.
Mm-hmm. Right, COPD. That makes total sense. That makes total sense. Susie, total sense. Because listen to it. COPD, PTSD, right? So this is about stuff from the past that is making him sick, like he physically can't breathe, right? So if he could release some of this emotionally, that would be fantastic, right? Again, the space of God that he's in right now, it doesn't feel like he's going to drastically change, right? So I feel like this is more, how can we have the best time and the best life with him where he's as healthy as he can be, where he can enjoy his life, really, which is quality of living, right? But this is why the COPD and the PTSD, that's no accident that they sound similar, because he gave his life to this, really, and that didn't allow him to breathe for him, and at some point that's got to catch up, right? Because he's not really living for himself and his dreams, he's living for the dreams of what was a free country. But now on top of that, all this other stuff is going on out here, which makes those dreams or those illusions of having the country that we thought was free, right, or was in a different space out here is completely different now. And don't think for a second that doesn't play a role here, because it absolutely does. It's not unlike my uncle who got congestive heart failure, lives in New York City, and New York City is like his favorite place in all the world, and he brags and talks about New York City all the time, and it's the greatest city in the world, and he knows everything about it. And then when all this shit happened with COVID, man, and now just recently in the last few months, 2 or 3 months, he got congestive heart failure, right? Because he can't breathe, because his passion is being killed in this reality, right? So this plays a role with everybody. Everybody who's losing their freedoms is going to have Uranus, nerve problems, and heart shit going on. That's why the COVID-19 vaccine also hits your heart. There's a grand plan here, right? Hits your heart, hits your breathing, hits your lungs, right? Because you're not getting to live. It's taking away your freedoms, your good health, your dreams of what you thought the world was. Might not have been perfect, right? But it wasn't in quite the space that it is today. So your dad is going through all of this stuff. So at this point, I do feel the salts would help him. Eating a healthier diet would help him. He doesn't feel like he wants to change like somebody like me or you would, or like we could do for our pets, where we give them the salts and the dog's like, okay, I'll take it, and they're so lovely in that space. They're so much easier to work with the people pets, because they're not going to say, fuck you, I'm not taking that medicine, I'm not eating that food. Sometimes they can, but they'll tell you what they want. But they tend to be a lot less difficult than human beings, pets, for the most part, okay? There's exceptions to every rule. But so the salts come in for him, as well as vitamins, minerals, herbs, this kind of thing, as well as diet, right? And if you did all these things and you did a whole entire program, I'm not necessarily sure or feeling that would be best for him, because I feel like it needs to be where it's not a project and it's not a lot of work for him. So he needs something that he could work with, and one of the best places to start there is diet, and the cell salts feel really good for him. All right, in terms of helping him to have the best life where he can still be healthy. I'd love to see, great changes where he could get off the medicine and do this and do that. But at the space that he's in with this and his set ways and the PTSD stuff and all of it plays a massive role here. Into his being in this space and not changing. He's been here a while and he has this belief system, and as many older people do, right? Even people who are my age, in their 50s are having challenges with what's going on in the world. Not everybody can adapt, right? Or is so, and that's okay, because the grand plan of God is you can exit out and do whatever you want from free will, and with free will from love, right? So those are the best things I feel. This is all the information coming in for him. You can also contact me personally, as you know, PM me, and I will get to you as soon as I get a chance. I get a lot of people who contact me a lot, and I always do my best to get through to everybody. And if I don't, on a personal level, through my phone or through my people, what I will do is, we'll just bring up your question and the information or whatever you ask on our shows as well, okay? All right, just to let everybody know that. All right? Okay, so...
real quick, Susie Lynn said that Rowdy is doing much better, and she wanted to say thank you to you.
Oh my dog. Yeah. Rowdy is your good. I'm feeling like you got the salts. I hope that you're using them. But either way, I'm glad the dog is doing much better. Whether this is helping or not, I know it will when you get it. But when you get them, but. Awesome news. And I meant to ask you that the other day, but I've just like everybody else, every day it's a new fuck storm of 1,000,001 things going on, right? And that's everything that's going on dimensionally and everything we're going through both personally and with all this energy. It's a lot. But thanks for letting me know. I'm super glad for you guys. Thanks. Okay, who's next?
Elizabeth is asking about her daughter. She'd like to know if she has any negative attachments. And mental health wise, she's asking, and if so, what crystals would benefit her?
All right, what is her birthday? Please, if you could tell me what Elizabeth's full name is and her birth date, if you're okay with that. I feel like her age comes in as 9, 10, 11. How old is she? Because this is the ages that come in for her. Let me just see here. Now that doesn't mean she could literally be that age. She very well may be. She may be older than her age. She may be younger than her age. This is about emotional stuff. So I don't feel that she has like an attachment that people believe out here. I don't feel like anything like that is happening. And I've talked about this on other shows in our live talk forums on Sundays at 7:15, where we really explore more of everything that is God, along with health issues as well. Did she say something?
Yep. Her name is the daughter's name is Lauren. And it's 9/18. She's 22.
Yeah. 9/18. Okay, so she 9/18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So she's a cusp baby. So she comes in as a Virgo, right? A Virgo Libra sun sign. The 23rd is the changeover from Virgo to Libra in September, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Comes in. Yeah, I do feel there's going to be some challenges here, right? And this isn't to scare you, right? This is to help you, okay? The thing about Virgos, all right, the thing about Virgos or Mercury and Saturn, and the Virgo energy as well, it can get, it lends itself to being pessimistic and negative and toxic thoughts and beating oneself up and beating the fuck out of themselves. Your daughter is a very, very old soul and she's super, super gifted. Did she give you an age and a name yet?
22, Lauren.
Okay, 9, 10, 11. Okay, see, I got 9, 10, 11. I'm gonna. Okay, I know what this is now. This is some shit. Do you know anything? Well, obviously you're her mom, so you must have some kind of clue, because what I'm picking up is something, there were some changes when she was 9, 10, 11. If you can think back, what happened to her in her life, because this is emotional, right? This plays a big role here. If you can give me some of her history of what went down here, because I'm feeling, and this brings her back to those spaces, which then makes her stunted emotionally, right? So even though she's older, she's going to have a lot of, she's going to have right now challenges with bipolar. Okay, so it's almost like when times are good, she can get really excited, like manic, and then when times are not good, it can be really, really rough, right? But this is that Virgonian energy. A lot of people who carry Virgo energy and don't know how to process their emotions and work with universe or God or love and remove these things, or work with their charts overall, or learn this new way. But it isn't a new way. It's been around since the beginning of time. It's just that they don't teach us here in Earth World, because then if we are free from all of our toxic, then we are free from being controlled. We are free from people ruling our lives and destroying them, because we all come from love, and nobody who comes from love in its purest form wants bad things for anybody, because that's not how it works, right? So that said, your daughter does have some challenges, and I feel like you've known this all along. She tends to be very reserved, very quiet, and very internally emotional with who she is. Like her emotions are kept under wraps, right? And she presents a loveliness to the world, right? She definitely can present a loveliness to the world. But there's really two different her, and it's about her just the words that come in is beating the fuck up. Her beating herself up, right? And this is not uncommon. These old souls, even us, right? Even us, have battles with self-loathe and self-hate, right? And most people can't talk about it, don't want to talk about it. I know like 4 or 5 people in my life right now, very close people, who have these battles, these challenges. It's like you tell them that something they do is really good, but you say to them, but you forgot this, and they're like, oh, and then they're like, let me beat the fuck out of myself, and I'm going to go in the back and cry and be miserable for 5 hours because I'm just not good enough. And it's not me who said that. It's this energy that tweaked them out, which is part of the grand design of God, so they can say, you know what? I don't want to be that guy anymore. Let's clear, heal, and change this and be free of it from love. Put the best way to be. Release these emotions. Heal these emotions. Change all of this in me to love. The best way to be from love in the purest form, right? Yeah. Neat shit, right? So
she did say that the thing that she thinks it might have been was moving.
Yeah, when you say that, I go ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that's because it disrupted her whole environment in her whole life, right? And the thing about earth signs, and she's a Virgo, which is an earth sign, is they like solid, they like security, and they like grounding. When you did that, you uplifted her whole world, so there's going to be challenges in there. But yeah, because I feel like she lost this, she lost that, and that totally, when I get in her energy, definitely threw her for a loop. But I feel like there's something else more. And I'm just going to ask universe, where this is coming from, what lifetimes, because this is just what we're seeing here in Earth World, and that's definitely a part of it. Oh, this is some crazy shit. Hold on. Did she give you her birthday is what?
9/18, I believe.
Does she know? Do you know what your daughter's rising and moon sign is by any chance? Because I'm picking up on some stuff. Because what I'm seeing here is one of her last most powerful, 57 to 63 to 68%. She had a really traumatic past lifetime on a ship. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I'm asking about this, right? Okay, and this is why moving was so traumatic to her, right? Because on a ship, you're not on solid ground. You're constantly moving. You're constantly moving, right? So the moving in Earth world released all of those emotions from a past lifetime. And this is crazy. I keep on picking up on like old world ships, like the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. And I feel like she was on a ship like that, coming from another world to another world. And I feel like it was to here, to the new world. And somehow, the water is always shifting, and with all the plagues and all the shit, she was the only person left on the fucking ship by herself. So she didn't have anybody, right? So when she's not on solid ground and you move her, all these emotions are going to be released. And this is also why she came in as an earth sign, because she's all about security, right? Security. And she's also about being a perfectionist. Why? Because the more perfect things are, the less likely they are to be fucked up. Do you see what I'm saying? Where things are to get fucked up in her processing and in the mind of who she is. All parts of this are in her psyche, right? Yeah, this totally comes in. Because I see her, as 9, 10, 11 being stuck on a ship, losing her whole entire family, everybody that she knew, seeing everybody die in some horrific stuff back in those time frames, right? So this is about really powerful healing for her from past lifetimes to present day. And what happened is, in this lifetime, that shook up the shit in here. It awakens those energies, right? And brings us back to those spaces of fear that we have in ourselves. And this is all part of the grand design that's in the stars. Because when I said to them, what's going on here? And usually earth and water are buddies, so they go together. But because I keep seeing the ship, and the ship is not stable. It's not on stable ground. And then she's moving from one place to another, and this triggers that and brings it out in this reality. Really incredible shit, right? So I'm going to ask God to remove these things, to release all this energy, if you would like, and if she would like, right? So how do we do that? We're going to, do that in the energy work right here, right now. But I'm just going to talk to them a minute. And I'm going to ask that if this is what's best for her and everybody here, if they so desire it, all energy that is all of this from this past lifetime, that is Lauren's, right? And if she so desires it, this way, we're not forcing her into anything, right? Her soul, subconscious and conscious, if it wants this energy, we'll pick it up because we put it out there for her, right? Because... And if she's not seeing counseling or not doing counseling or medicine, please, obviously you can't make her do anything, but ask love to speak through you. Ask God that she does, if this is what's best for her, or you can put her on a spiritual path to work with somebody with the energy work, or she can work with me over the phone or wherever you can come in, or however you want to do it. But it's just a variation of the work that I'm doing right here, right now, right? Tapping into this energy that is her with God and bringing us to these spaces so that we can release these energies of this emotional stuff as well as everything that it is, so that she can be free of this, because this is a huge chunk of what's causing what's going on with her. And as long as this is in here, these cycles are going to just continue and continue and continue, and then they get worse or change up somewhere along the line to different things. In Earth World Medicine, while it can help her, if she can't go down this path with, let's say, us and what we do, maybe she could go with another healer or another spiritual person, or if she's ready to open up to that, right? However, if not, a therapist and somebody or a psychiatrist and some medicine, would be really good for her right now. What really comes in is an anxiety medicine for her, an anti-anxiety. Because when I get in her space, she's like, and it's really like, right? And it comes from being absolutely fucking terrified. And who wouldn't be if they were in that situation on a ship, right? I got some even fucking probably just as bad, if not worse, stories. We all do. The older the soul, the more the shit you go through. It's part of our journeys and our wisdom, And I'm sorry, my people space. I'm sorry, and I totally feel for her, and I get it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, that's the guidance that they're telling me for her right? You can also use lavender oils and tools like that, right? You can use cell salts, lavender oils, vitamins, minerals, herbs. What she eats plays a big role in here, right? All these things. If you need a more specific to her, PM me. We'll get you this guidance from universe, okay? What is exactly specific to her, okay? But in the meantime, I'm going to do this energy work to remove this, and if she so desires, it will be so, right? Okay, and for all of us. So whenever I do these prayers and you guys want them, say thank you, God, for that for me, right? From love, right? So this happens regardless. We put it out there, and if your soul doesn't want it, then it doesn't take it, and if it does, then it does, right? So let's take all this energy from this lifetime that Lauren has had, all emotional energy that is all of this, and all emotions that are all of this, for Lauren, and thank you for these gifts for us now. Please let us clear, heal, and change it now, please, to love in the purest form. Let us feel these emotions that are all intertwined with all this. Let us process it, heal it, clear it, change it. To love in the purest form and be free of it. And in place of all this, put the best way to be from love in the purest form in this reality, any reality, and all that is in our souls and in all we are, be, say, do, and create in the best way for us to learn something better. And thank you, God, for that for us.
Thank you, God, for that.
This is a big release for her. It'll be a big release. So if she continues to do this metaphysical work through her chart, right, or through somebody who really talks to God and is a super gifted spiritual healer and stuff, you can look into these things. Everybody does different things in different ways. You and her can feel what she's called to, but of course you can't do it for her. She's an adult, and it's up to her what she wants to do, and we honor that, right? My dad used to say to me all the time, Lynn, and this is because I was so fucking wild when I was a kid. I used to be like, fuck this and fuck that and blah, 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 and I used to know it all, that's part of being a teen and part of being a kid and part of growing up. I knew it all. My dad used to say to me all the time, I can lead a horse to water, but I cannot make him drink, right? We all know these sayings, right? You can't, and so, it's so that in this respect, you got to give it to God, right? Thanks, Jesus, take the wheel, So you pray for what you want. You talk to her about it in an earth world, see what she wants to do. Maybe she's open to a different way, like what we do here, right? But there's no reason she can't learn this and do it herself. You can turn her on to the live shows we do here, and this here, because we can definitely help her. But it's up to her to want to do something different, right? And as Einstein says, right, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a change, right? Can't get that, right? So the world is going through that right now. Nobody's acting. Everybody sees all the problems going on and sees what's happening, but until the people act to change it, it doesn't happen, right? All right, so that said, I think that we're good. Go ahead, who's next?
Crystal.
Hi, Crystal. Good to see you, girl. What's happening?
She's worried that she's worried about her godson. He's 11 years old and autistic. He was left at the hospital by his mother due to him behaving violently. His mother lost custody of him to the state, and Crystal's very worried about him. She would like to know if the hospital is actually helping her godson, as she has no way of knowing what's going on anymore.
So does does the mother have custody? I mean, just what's the God's honest truth here? Because the mother is not, Crystal, I'm sorry to say this, the mother is not equipped to take care of this child. I'm really sorry. She has the same deficits emotionally, mentally, in her soul as he does. They just manifest differently. So she is just not capable to handle this. She can't even really handle this energy in herself. And it's not a dig or a bad thing. It just is what it is. I'm never big on hospitals and mental hospitals and things like that if you can help it, but sometimes people need to be there, absolutely, right? What I would do for you, Crystal, is let's ask God what's the best thing to do in this case. Guidance, gifts, tools, love, energy, magic, everything we need to know the God's honest truth about what's going on here, and how we can find out what's going on, the best way to do that, and what we should do, if anything. And then in the meantime, we send out prayers and love for the best healing, the gifts and tools for him going through this and everybody. from love in the purest form. And then we ask God for everything that is best for them as well, if they so desire it. And we give it to God and we let go of it, because you're going to make yourself fucking nuts and crazy about him and her if you let that happen, right? And universe, let it go, and universe will bring you all these answers back to you, and then you can decide from love where it is you want to go with this, because he's a lot. Like, you know, while you're worried about him and you love him, he's really not. You're going to need a special kind of God space, or a special kind of person really equipped to take care of him, because he's not who you think he is. And it's a challenge. It's absolutely a challenge. He's a challenge. But again, you know, there's tools that you can use. But again, this isn't your journey, your garden. I know you love him. But the best thing that you can do is all these things that we ask God for the best gifts, the best tools, the best understanding, the best wisdom, to know that God's honest truth about what's going on, what you can do to help him. Again, all of these things. And also, then let go of it. Give it to God. Ask the angels to take care of him and her from love in the purest form. And thank you, God, for that for us. And then let go of it, and universe will bring you all the answers. You may not have to ask them. A neighbor may call you and say, oh, somebody came by and told me all this stuff, and they gave me this number and told me they saw you and you could contact them, and you know what I mean? You'll know. Right? So let the answers come in, let God guide you. But for now, this is really not your journey, and universe is telling me you have a lot of shit on your plate right now, and they're saying, you know, you can't save the world. You're such a beautiful soul, but this is what we all must learn as healers. We have to let go of these people and give it back to universe, because the best person or the best energy to handle this is love itself. And you got all this on your plate, and in time, and if you are guided to, they will tell you and guide you to what to do. And you can always ask along with all the other stuff that we just asked as well, in a different way, or down the future, right? Or down the road. And give it to God. Jesus, take the wheel. Okay, girl? And either way, remember, this is his journey. He's going to be okay. When you ask me about the hospital, I don't feel super great about it, but there's no other place right now that he can be. There just isn't. I feel like it's like a variation of like almost like a psychotic break. And you wouldn't normally think about that with the autism, but it's an emotional thing, and people don't understand it in Earthworld. You know, in the hospitals will probably give him some drugs and stuff, but right now, as much as it's not my cup, it doesn't feel like it's the greatest for him. It's what's best for him for now. Okay, in these circumstances. And so, you know, again, you could ask for the best doctors, the best people, the best hospital, the best gifts, the best tools, everything he needs from love. And thank you, God, for that for him. Right? All right. So, okay. So who's next?
That's all we got online.
That's it for tonight? All right. What time we at?
It is 8:59.
Okay, so we're pretty much in a good time. We did almost 2 hours. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It was a great night. I had a lot of fun, a lot of great wisdom. And if you can donate, you know, please do. Share our stuff. If you know other people, definitely tell them about what we do if you feel it in your heart, right? You can donate through PayPal, Venmo, sending money through the mail, or donate energetically by sharing what we do with other people, so that we can help as many people and teach as many people as we can and give them guidance from higher knowing of love, okay? Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week, okay?